I'm going to bring Poquito into the house now. I'm having him sit at the front door. Make sure that he stays seated. No. If he gets distracted, he might get distracted. So you say no and just gently but firmly put him back where he's supposed to be. He does tend to lose focus sometimes. Okay. And then we're going to walk through this doorway slowly and calmly now from now on, because the front door is one of those major boundaries where the dog's usually pulling you through and acting crazy, hyper. They want to either go back inside or go out for their walk. Sit. So whenever we go through there, which we'll deal with later on in the video, you want to have him be calm. But we're walking him straight in from his walk. I'm going to have him sit in front of the mat. Make sure that you're always keeping this leash loose. No, if he gets up, you can say no. Okay. Do a little do-over circle like this. It just takes a little bit of tiny pressure to put him back. He loves to go on the mat, so he's trying to go on there, but he has to wait for your permission. So have him sit in front of the mat with your right hand, lean over, pat his chest and say, go to your mat, and then say, down. And the little issue we have in all these filmings is that we have the camera person. Usually there's not a camera person standing 5 feet away, pointing a thing at the dog. So he's going to act a little bit differently, but it just serves as another distraction that he has to deal with and still do everything correctly. Good. And in this case, he knows the camera person, so he's kind of happy to see her. But he has to play this the right way. So what I do, and this is my living room, what I do is just practice simple stuff like walking to different places in the room and then coming back to reward him. Always come back in front of him, reward him from right here in front of him. Good. Put it on the mat like that. Don't let him take it out of your hand. So since I went that way, I'm going to go this way now, out of his eyesight. I'm actually going into the kitchen, coming back, right in front of him like this. Good. Make sure you put it on the mat like that. He takes it off the mat. I'm going to walk behind him here and back in front, trying to go to all the different places in the room. Good. He gets a reward. Now, if you want to shoot me over here, I'm going to sit down. This is something that he had a problem with for a while. Sitting down on furniture. Whoops. He would think that would be that's an invitation to come over to me, but now he's got it. So he gets a big reward for that, because this is something that took a while to teach him. Good. If I sit down on the furniture, it doesn't mean to pop up and come over and say hi. Once you can go to different places in the house and come back, and he stays there, then you want to start doing things that are more difficult, that challenge him. So I'm going to start, the first thing I can do is I have a hallway there that's right behind him, and just being behind him is a challenge. But I'm going to go in that hallway, close the door, and knock on the door there. And anytime that you want to, that you're going to do something that might be difficult for him to handle, it's okay to remind him what you want him to keep doing. So before I do that, I'm going to say down, just to remind him what to keep doing. We go back here, close the door, knock on the door. Very good. It's okay if he turns around to look. Good, but he shouldn't be spinning his body around or standing up. And I'm going to allow that little thing he did where he kind of turned around, but he's really doing very well, because good. He was spinning around for a while and getting up and couldn't handle that distraction, but now we've taught him to have self-control, and now he stays there and waits for me to come back. So he's a lot better than he was before. The main thing that you want to do is practice with the front door, since that's usually where your visitor comes through, hopefully, if you don't have a back door. And this is where most dogs get excited, knocking at the door, doorbells, strangers walking through the door. So we practice a lot with this. And we also have barking dogs out here, so it's going to be a little bit more noisy here than your house. But the first thing I'm going to do is walk out here. I'm going to say, of course, down. And then I'm going to ring the doorbell, knock on the door. And I got a crazy loud doorbell. Very good. And for doing something that exceptional, I'm going to obviously give him a bit more reward for that than I would if I just stepped away and came back, or stepped over there and came back, because this is a lot harder to do. So I'm going to just go outside now, and I'm going to bang on the windows as well. Down. Doorbell, knocking, everything all at once. Very good. So he deserves a big reward for that. Good boy. Make sure he stays down. I saw his left elbow go up a little bit, but he stayed down for the most part. So you can also just practice other things that might make him get up. Pulling on the leash. He knows he's supposed to be there. Very good. And you want to pull on that leash from different angles. Down. You can always remind him what to do first. Good. If he stays there, he gets rewarded. If he ever gets up at any time, if you're holding the leash, you'd say no. And if he just stands up, you just step on the leash like this and he would go back down. If he leaves the mat, you step into him and just walk him back right to where he's supposed to be and put him back. You only say no. You're not going to say the command again because you already said D-O-W-N once, and we need to have him think. We're setting the bar very high. He hears it once, that means he stays there until he's released the official way. If we're setting the bar really high for him to do it that way every time, then we're going to get a lot more out of him. He may not do it every single time perfectly, but if we're expecting him to and doing it this way, overall his training is going to be really, really solid. So if you're outside or something and he gets up, if you're practicing this, you come back, he's running around, you just stay calm, you just say no, pick up the leash wherever he is, get him, maybe you have to do a little left circle like this with him to get him back here and get him back on the mat, put him back. He knows how to play this game. If you do those moves, which are my moves, you're going to get these moves. It's just a matter of you practicing this probably for a few days or maybe a week, depending on how coordinated you are. It's always different with everybody, but if you keep doing it, this is just like a 5-minute-a-day exercise. You're going to get better at it. The more you become like me, doing what I do, the more you're going to see this at your house. And the byproduct of doing this is a dog that's calm out in public as well, that has a much higher tolerance to stress, can handle dealing with strangers a lot better, that sort of thing. So you definitely want to practice this little exercise, even if it's 3 minutes a day. If you're super busy, just have a couple of successes and then you're done. So it's a real important thing to practice. So I'm going to take him off the mat now, and the way you would do that, I'm going to drop the leash just like you would do out in public. If you had to have him be in a downstay, we teach them to wait for us to come back, and the only way that he gets released is when his owner comes back, stands next to him. You pat your leg because that's an extra little cue to help him understand what's going on. Okay, like that, and okay, leave the mat. Sometimes they won't leave the mat because he loves being there and he's kind of been there now for 5 to 10 minutes and sit. It's hard for him to snap out of that mode. So sometimes you have to do what you saw me do and like get it across to him. Come on, man, we're going. It's time to go. But you saw how I did that. So the key to him is firm always. Try to be really succinct, really clear with him, but gentle at the same time because he's a little dog. You don't need to be correcting and jerking him around. Not that you would, but you just really try to keep the stressful handling with him at a minimum and you'll get a lot more out of him. Okay.